So a list of top 5 potential trade targets for the Eagles has emerged. The question is, do they make sense? Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly. Scary Cooper, asshole! Oh, Dingbat! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy! Happy trails, Hans. Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, King Dingbat here, and hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So a list of top 5 potential trade targets for the Eagles to do before week 1 has emerged, and we've got to talk about it. Not only that, but today is a very unique day, because today we got to give the New York Giants some credit. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe for daily Eagles content, and if you've been subscribed for a while, just double check, double moonwalk check. Make sure you're still subscribed. YouTube acts gagoot sometimes, and things get all screwed up. So just double check. Now, before I get into the potential list, this potential top 5 potential list of targets for the Eagles, I got to talk about the New York Giants. There's a few things that I have to say. First thing, for many of you guys, you may have heard today that the 49ers have officially given Jimmy Garoppolo's agent Don Yee and Carter Chow permission to seek a trade. Source said Garoppolo has been cleared to start practicing per team source. 49ers are still expected to exercise caution with him this summer. Now, the only reason that I bring up Jimmy G is because one of the teams that has been coming up in potential Garoppolo trade rumors has been the New York Giants. That's shocking to me. It's shocking, and I have to say, I'm not sure I can believe that that's the case. However, I will say this. If the Giants were to make a move like that, I believe they would win up to 3 more games than they're going to win with Daniel Jones. So all of a sudden, that division could have 4 teams being competitive instead of 3. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's likely. But I thought it was interesting that the New York Giants were connected with potentially going after him. Not sure how real it is. I could care less. We'll beat him either way. You know what I'm saying? The other thing I got to give the Giants credit for. The Giants today announced that they are bringing back some throwback jerseys and helmets and uniforms, right? And the Giants are going to be playing 2 games this year with this helmet. That's a badass helmet. I gotta just be straight up. That is badass. The Giants helmets, back when they said Giants on it, are much better than the new ones. So you gotta give the Giants a lot of credit. Now, we've seen Carolina, we've seen Houston show their new alternate helmet. We've seen now the Giants. When is our turn? When is our turn? I know we're going to be wearing black helmets this year. I'm waiting to see it. It's time to release what you got, Eagles. It is time to release what you got. And let me say this. I think the Eagles not only should unveil the black helmets, but also unveil the Kelly Green. Even though you're not playing with it this year, start selling the merchandise. I need a Devontae Smith Kelly Green. You know what I'm saying? I need a Devontae Smith Kelly Green. So, Howie, little man, get on it. You know what I'm saying? Now, there is a list, and it was in a paper, Morning Call, and they basically were listing 5 potential trade targets for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I kind of want to go over it. I don't agree with some of them. Some of them are kind of interesting, but I kind of wanted to go over it with you guys, see what you're thinking and how you feel about this. The fifth trade possibility, and the first one we're going to talk about, was they had the Eagles trading a 2023 4th-round pick to Cleveland for Browns back the Ernest Johnson. Now, here's the thing. When I first started to read about this potential trade scenario, my first thoughts were I would rather have Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt would be a better fit for the Eagles, somebody that could complement Miles and Kenneth Gainwell. However, when you start to look into things, you start to come up with articles like this. Browns, quote, likely to trade breakout offensive star prior to the season. Insider believes Johnson, not Hunt, Browns' top trade candidate. And there seems to be thought that Ernest Johnson could be the one traded and not Kareem Hunt. Now, I got to tell you, I think Ernest Johnson could come in and be a decent fit. I think Kareem Hunt fits more, and that would be my first choice. But Ernest Johnson, 5'10", 208 pounds, only 26 years old, had 534 yards and 3 touchdowns last year, averaged 5.3 yards a carry. He could be a decent possibility for the Philadelphia Eagles if they're not going to go Kareem Hunt. Me personally, I still prefer Kareem Hunt, but he may not be a trade option. Ernest Johnson is somebody definitely to think about. Number 4, they had trade a 2024 6th-round pick to the Dolphins for receiver Lynn Bowden. Look, Miami has a ton of wide receivers. He's a young kid, has talent. There's no question about it. But I have to say this. This is one trade that I do not agree with because the Eagles, in my opinion, have enough receivers right now. I think we're good with what we have. I think we go into the season with what we have at receiver. I wouldn't make this move. Okay? This one's kind of an interesting trade. Their third option is trade left tackle Andre Dillard to Indianapolis for safety Julian Blackmon. Now, Julian Blackmon's young. He can play. He came in, he started, I guess, the first year he started with the Colts. He was good. He was good for them and all that, but he tore his Achilles. So he's coming back from an Achilles injury. I think that the Indianapolis Colts are expecting a lot from him. So I would be surprised that they want to trade him. They did sign Rodney McLeod. But to me, I don't know that I want to give Andre Dillard, a guy who's going to be a starting left tackle. I don't want to give him up for a safety that is coming off a torn Achilles. Torn Achilles, man, especially for defensive backs, always scared me. My problem when the Eagles drafted Sidney Jones was that a defensive back coming back from an Achilles scares me. It's no different for a safety as far as I'm concerned. So, to me, I would steer away from that one. I kind of don't like it also. Their second option, and this one I kind of like. Trade wide receiver Jalen Reagor and a 2024 4th-round pick to New England for Patriots running back Damien Harris. Now, would the Patriots trade Damien Harris? Are they looking to get rid of a running back? Because Damien Harris is 25 years old, had 929 yards last year, 15 touchdowns. I would do this trade in a second, right? He's 5'11", 213 pounds. He's got decent size, and Damien Harris would fit. In my opinion, he would fit the kind of running back you need. A guy that I think could be a physical running back who could be put in short yardage situations. A guy that can be a good change of pace to Miles and Kenneth Gainwell. This one actually intrigues me a lot. But why would the Patriots trade him? I have not heard anything about the potential of Damien Harris being moved. But this is something that I would do. I would be totally open to that. I really like that trade a lot. And then the final trade that they have, of course, as far as the player goes, I think you got to get on it. But their number one option was trade a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick to Cincinnati for safety Jessie Bates. Look, I think if you have an option to get Jessie Bates, you go out and get him. I said in yesterday's video, that would solidify this defense. It would be the final nail in the coffin, as far as I'm concerned, for the Eagles to be a top 5 defense. I would love to see Jessie Bates here. Now, here's what I'll say, right? The thing with Jessie Bates, and the thing that I have to wonder about, is that first round pick, that 2023 first round pick, is not something at this point I can trade. I have to have it as insurance in case I have to go get a quarterback, right? I'll need 2 first round picks next year and probably a first the following year. I'm probably going to have to give up 3 first round picks to get up a quarterback if I have to. So I'm really not interested, even though I like Jessie Bates, in giving up that 2023 first round pick. Now, if you're in a situation where you're at the trade deadline, Jalen Hurts has exceeded expectations, he's our quarterback next year, and you feel safe trading one of those first round picks, then I can consider it. Otherwise, instead of a first and a fourth, what about a second and a third? You know what I mean? Something like that. I have to keep that first round pick. But as far as Jessie Bates goes, yes, I would be all over that in a second. One of the things, about this list that kind of surprised me is there was no talk of a pass rusher. To me, if I'm the Eagles and I have an opportunity to get like a Robert Quinn or get another pass rusher for depth purposes, I would do it. I would do it also. You've got Brandon Graham coming back from an Achilles. Although he looks fantastic and great, you never know. Josh Sweat, he's got to be consistent. Derek Barnett stinks. And we really could use another edge rusher as far as I'm concerned. So a guy like Robert Quinn may be somebody that I would put on that list before some of these other guys. But I really am intrigued with the Damien Harris thing, Kareem Hunt. I think the Eagles needs a few positions. They can use a safety, need to fill the safety spot. I think they need to fill that second tight end spot. I think they still need to add another running back. And I still think you can add depth to your defensive line, to your edge rushers, to your defensive ends. So that's where I would look. But I thought it was an interesting, some interesting names, some interesting ideas. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. It's how we vision. We're all just living in it. Everybody's releasing their alternate jerseys. I think there's like 11 or 12 teams. Well, we're going to release ours. I got to see this helmet. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see the Kelly Green, man. I need it. It is time to release the info. And speaking of info, shout out to my man Adrian from Bitter Birds. He's been doing a lot of wrestling stuff over a lot of wrestling. I haven't watched wrestling since like 2002, 2003. I think after the Attitude Era, I think it stinks. But shout out to Adrian, and I want to say this to you, Adrian, if you see this. I want ECW, man. Talk about ECW. ECW was the best. Denzel Washington, out.